All right, there we go. Let's get Facebook in here. We can really officially start the show. It is August 19th, 6:07 Mountain Time. We got the wheels spinning, 1 and 2. All right, welcome in, folks. Happy Tuesday. It is time for an episode of Building the Broncos, one of the longest running shows here at Mile High Huddle under SI. I'm Nick Kendell and joined by Carl Dumler. Carl, we are not on the eve of the season, but it's right around the corner. And now that the joint practices are gone, kind of that third preseason game is the de facto guys who probably aren't making the roster game. We found out about as much as we can, besides obviously the roster being cut down. But the players who are here from now until week 1, and we actually have the real NFL, and of course Facebook has an issue tonight when Scott's not here, so we will see if that does it. And I don't know, maybe no Facebook tonight, maybe it's just us, but we are chillaxing. We're here saying hello to everybody coming in. We got Michael Ronquillo. Good evening, Broncos country and Mount Rushmore support on the Mile High Huddle podcast. He's excited to hang out with us. Broncos country, are you excited for the 2025 season? Sent emoji, see it says on there. And then next Tuesday's cut day. So it should be a lot of fun. My first thought for you, or my first question for you, is people start to trickle in, and I'm going to try Facebook again, even though it's probably to no avail. But any surprise cuts coming right now? Do you have any feelings of any surprise cuts, trades? Is there anybody shocking that might not be here?
I think maybe the one surprise could be PJ Locke.
Okay.
I think he has some value with his starting experience. Broncos, I think, do like some of their younger guys. JL Skinner for special teams. You got Devin Key, who played a little bit last year. Keydron Smith has played some. Sam Franklin, I've heard a lot of really good things about him and possibly making this roster. And so I could see them, and it kind of being almost a mutual thing. This is where it is so hard to go from starter the year before to backup the next year. I mean, it'd be like your boss coming and telling you, hey, we're going to demote you. Like, you're going to get still paid the same, but you're going from manager to now you're working the floor for us or something like that. And I don't think he wants that. I think he is a very competitive guy. I do think he wants to start somewhere, and he knows, barring injury, that's not happening here in Denver. Like, he's not passing Brandon Jones. He's, of course, not going to pass Hufanga. So I could see him both wanting a trade and the Broncos going, hey, that gives us some extra spending money. We can go with some of these younger guys, be fine with that. And then I know today Benito talked at the podium, and he said, yeah, talks have been really good. We're working on the numbers. Get there is pretty much what he said. But he's kind of waiting on some of the other edge players' contracts to get figured out. Micah Parsons being one of them.
Hendrickson.
I don't know if I'd wait for Micah Parsons.
No,
because we don't know when that one's going to get done. That could be a long time away, and I'm not sure if I would risk it. If I've got a really good deal in front of me, I might just say, hey, just go ahead and take this, and just have to be okay with it, I guess, if it comes in lower than I want after the Micah Parsons deal gets done. But no, I think I could see, like I said, a mutual deal there where a guy that should make the 53-man roster if he's not traded, but I could see him getting a little bit of interest, probably like a 6th rounder. I'm not saying it's going to be anything of great value, but right now the Broncos have done great rewarding these young players, going a little bit cheaper at some places. And so that's one for me. Do you have another?
I think that I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to offer enough, but I could imagine some teams sniffing around on the Broncos wide receiver depth, specifically Vele. The Broncos have invested pretty highly in Pat Bryant. Franklin has been emerging. Now, they did rest Vele, of course, in this last game, and he had a pretty good joint practice and get like a 70-yard touchdown. But he's dealing with a knee injury. He's a little bit older. If you can turn that into a 5th-round pick, I think there is at least some thought there. Now, right now, my expectation would be they keep 6. Now they're going to have 6 active. I don't know. Injuries happen. They have good depth there. This isn't a team that's looking to sell just to accumulate right now. Like, we're going to sell some of these guys because really our window's not right now. Denver's, they think they're in their window right now. We'll see. So It doesn't really make sense unless somebody's offering a 5th round pick just straight up. Then I don't think there's maybe a conversation to be had. But maybe, or like, you send a 7th and you get back a 4th, something like that. But right now, that's one that kind of stands out a little bit. You mentioned Locke. The one thing about Locke that I have a hard time with the trade market is that his contract isn't really all that cheap to take him on. So whoever trades for him, I believe they take on $4.19 million. And that's how much Denver would save with just, oh gosh, what's the dead here? Of course, I can't click it when it's happening here, but only dead, I think, about $1 million. Yep, $1 million on the dot. So had the injury, a little older, plays a devalued position. And it's not like he's, second-year player, third-year player, rookie cost-controlled contract. So a team's going to have to take on some of that. So right now, I think that Locke is he could be traded for sure. And I'm not saying he's not a worthwhile player to keep on, but because of the $4.19 million dead, sometimes cap casualties occur that way. And again, Denver's not really in a cutting corners kind of window right now, but let's say they like Franklin more, they like Skinner more than one of these other young safeties. If it's close, tie goes to the young cheap guy. So definitely is a spot we're keeping on. And one of the Facebook groups looks like they just connected. So I don't know if Chad did that or they just decided to go through. I just left it at that point. So hello to Facebook coming in. We got Daniel Berry Sports coming in. Happy Tuesday. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Daniel Berry. Daniel, I noticed you're not one of the members yet. What's going on here? We got Pearl also, not a member. Come on, Pearl. Speaking of that, make sure you guys are becoming a member of the MHH YouTube team. Help us a heck of a lot. Obviously that's a big thing you can do for us right now, getting the ball rolling there. We do have some members though coming in. Mike Thompson, great to see you. William comes in, says, did you guys see ESPN ranked our cornerback room 13th in the league with the wide receiver room 31st? Okay. I don't know. Is that Seth Walder coming in there? Whoever it is, I don't know.
I can't remember. Is it Matthew Berry?
He does the fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought he was NBC, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I probably have more problem with the cornerback room than I do the wide receiver room. Like, I know all of us are excited about Troy Franklin and the leap that he has taken. And Bryant has obviously played really, really well this preseason. Vele, you still have him here. You got Mims, who started really showing up over the second half of the season. But the reality is they haven't shown it in actual games, like real games that matter. And so until they do that, until they prove it, teams are always going to doubt outside of Denver what's really here. So we're excited about it. And I'm like, after last year, I was pretty much done with Troy Franklin. I was kind of at that, well, he could be our number 2 wide receiver, or he could be off the team. And I was kind of leaning more like he's going to be off the team. He's done well. He's done a great job of redeeming himself, putting in the work, looks bigger, stronger, has really good hands, made some really great catches that he could not make last year. And talking about a great catch, we got Patrick come in with some coffee picture here. Thank you, Patrick. And that's pretty much what I look like in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee.
I love it so much. I got the bloodshot eyes and everything.
Yeah.
I feel that.
But I feel it too. So like I said, I get it with the wide receiver ranking. There's just not much proven beyond Sutton. And really, Sutton right now, if we're being realistic, is probably somewhere in the 20 to 25th best receiver in the NFL.
I'll go 16 to 24. Yeah.
Okay, 16 to 20. I mean, so he's good. I like Sutton. I'm glad that we have Sutton. But even there, you're still looking for that upgrade over him to really get that dynamic weapon, the Jamar Chase that makes teams have to figure out, okay, we have to have safety help on this side. Linebackers, you've got to be shadowing this way in case he's trying to do a quick slant. The Justin Jeffersons, where even if you double team him, he's still open. You know, those kind of guys just really change the numbers of how you have to run coverage and how you play defense. Sutton doesn't completely do that. Like that, he's good, but he's just not quite to that kind of level. So I don't mind them being 31st. The cornerback room, that one, I mean, maybe they're going off of how they looked at the end of the season and saying, hey, it was great that they looked good for the first 8 weeks, but once Riley Moss got hurt, they really changed as a team. I I lean towards what they were in the first 8 weeks. Riley Moss being healthy again, McMillan, another year in the system. Obviously, you added Barron to this group. And I really like Chris Abrams-Drain. I really think he could be something if you put him on the field. And I mean, not going to be like lights out number 2, number 1 cornerback level, but I think he could be a very competent player for you, especially in coverage. Maybe not helping in run support, but coverage wise, he's going to do really well for you. So
I did just look at Mike
I think
Clay's.
This is a really good cornerback. What? Go ahead.
Yeah, I looked at Mike Clay's rankings, ESPN, and he has the Broncos wide receiver room 31st, but the cornerback's 10th, just off a quick count there. So I don't know if it's changed, if it's somebody else, but where were the Broncos? What was the Broncos offense ranked last season? What was the defense ranked last season? Like the projections, they're fun to talk about, and it's like a nice tool to have, but it's like rankings, college football rankings before the season even starts. Like you have some idea that the recruiting rankings do matter. We haven't even had a single result yet. So,
yeah,
like it's fun to talk about, and I respect the work these guys do, but they would tell you that they're not infallible. And if you want to be upset about it, that's go for it. But
it's there's always gonna be those players that emerge that you didn't expect.
Yep.
A wide receiver that shows up in a big. Maybe Troy Franklin does become a guy that could be 1,000-yard receiver this year. Yep. And by next year, you're looking at that wide receiver room saying they're top 10. Like I said, things change very quickly in the NFL that way. And sometimes these rankings, like I said, they really lean into what we do know. They don't want to be caught getting into the what if game. What if Riley Moss becomes something? Last year, they did not want to get into that. Yeah, they knew Surtain was a great cornerback, but we didn't know anything else about the rest of that room before the season started.
Yeah.
Why? I'm trying to think. It's kind of like Madden. There's a lot of players that stay really high in rankings once they get there, even if they start their drop off. Travis Kelce being a 99 last year, he's not that level.
No,
I don't even know if I'd put him in the top 10 tight ends in football right now. He's still decent. He's still a big name and still a player you've got to respect because of the intelligence he brings on the field. But his athleticism has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And yet last year he was a 99. So sometimes it takes a while for them to catch up on that. And other times it takes a while for them to catch up on the younger players and what they're actually bringing to the table.
Yeah. I'm not sure about this $5 from David Carmelo because it's coming out weird format here. So hopefully he didn't just like type that in and tricking me. But the Broncos stuck in the middle, which is the worst place to be after 2026. Can you see Peyton getting fired? That's 2 seasons. Let the Broncos win the Super Bowl this season, and then they're in the middle. What does stuck look like after 2 seasons? So it's just impossible to say. I think it would take an implosion this season followed by a mediocre output to move on from Sean Payton. We've seen this regime be really patient with George Payton and for good results. So right now, I think if Sean Payton gets fired, it's for something off the field or who knows, something like that. But right now, I think the results, who knows, 2 seasons from now that the world could look completely different. But I have a hard time picturing Sean Payton being fired with how much power he has in the momentum and the direction of this team right now. Now, obviously, you're talking 2 years in the future, but I can't see it.
Well, and technically, he's never been fired as a head coach. He had his 1-year suspension, and then he kind of retired, quit there for a year. It's why the Broncos had to trade for him because he actually technically wasn't fired. So, and he's never had a season with less than 7 wins, even when he's had a couple really bad Saints teams, some questionable quarterback play. He still was able to produce a lot of wins. To me, probably the strength of this team to me is the coaching staff. There's some really good players, but I really do think that the coaching staff elevated pretty. Okay, don't take this the wrong way. I don't think the talent matched the 10-win season last year per se. I think they got a lot out of a lot of young players. Now, those players are growing because the coaching is getting them there. And that's what you want to see. And so I really do. I believe very much in this coaching staff that the floor should ever be 7 wins. That's the lowest you should ever expect from this team when Sean Payton is coaching. So the idea, as you said, that they would have a complete fall off, it probably means Bo Nix got injured, Jarrett Stidham got injured, and we're having Sam Ehlinger as our quarterback on the field. And we just stand no chance because we have no quarterback. I think that's probably what it would take to have that kind of season under Sean Payton.
Yeah, I just can't see it. I don't know. But right now I'm very Sean Payton pilled. What he's done here has been miraculous. So I don't know. I have a hard time seeing it. David Kilgore says, would you guys be interested in Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah.
Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Trey Henderson is the Travion Henderson, but we got Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher from Cincy. I'd be interested. The issue is that I don't know where you're fitting that contract in with Benito potentially being signed. You still have JFM. I mean, are you trading your cost-controlled Jonah Ellis for him? You get pretty top-heavy and older there doing that. But he's a heck of a player. I don't know. I've just pay Benito in that case and keep Ellis, and let's keep the ball rolling. That's my thought.
So I wanted to ask you this. There's a few names that are out there. Obviously, Mike Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, McLaurin. Would you trade for him? Yeah.
I just have such a hard time with older players right now, just given where the Broncos are cap wise. They're having a hard enough time, not a hard enough time, but like with Benito right now, they've taken care of a lot of guys, and they just paid Sutton as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't have Sutton here, let's say Sutton was a second year player, rookie cost controlled, you could afford to bring in a vet and trade for somebody like that. But since you just paid Sutton, paid Ingram, very expensive offensive line, I don't know. I would love to have him.
Yeah.
And I think if you could go for it, trade one of those young wide receivers. I just don't know what would the package even look like? Like Washington's not really in a position to be wanting to trade anyway, even if he has demand. I know that the hold-in is ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think that happens.
Yeah, and I'm with you. In Washington, I think they're being really stupid. They've got some cap space moving forward. Pay this guy a couple extra million than what you want to do. Give a little more guaranteed, because this is your number one wide receiver. Your team went and made some major trades this offseason to get you, you went to the NFC Championship. Now maybe we're fighting for a Super Bowl with a quarterback that could be something really, really special. And now you're messing around over a few $1 million for your wide receiver. It makes zero sense to me. That's why I've been really impressed with this coaching staff, front office, ownership. They haven't messed around a whole lot with contracts, and the players feel very secure. Like, hey, yeah, we're getting something down. Bonito, the way he talked today, it was not, they haven't talked to me, I haven't talked to them, like you hear with the Micah Parsons. We've all dug in, and we haven't heard any of that kind of stuff. It's been no, like they communicate with us. Hey, this is what we expect. This is what you expect. Let's talk about it. So, I think McLaurin brings a little something different to the team at the wide receiver position than what we have. Sutton can do the dirty work over the middle. You got Bryant as well, kind of working some of the middle stuff. McLaurin being one of he might have the claim for being the best deep threat in the NFL right now. Just his work of being able to turn a play into a 50-yard plus touchdown is unmatched right now. And I know, like, we've got Marvin Mims. He had a really big touchdown. Troy Franklin could be doing some of those kind of things. But just having that threat that everybody knows, like, yep, this guy, he can win over the top on you, I think really would just put the fear of God into a lot of teams going, oh, crap. Okay, yeah, this 31st ranked wide receiver room now might have just become top 10 because you added a guy like McLaurin.
Yeah. Yeah. Be interesting for sure. A lot of fun. Maybe we can see it in Madden. We got Greg Smith. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Roy Osborne. Good evening, everybody. Let's get ready for the Saints and see who has the last second gasp to me to make the team. Saints, I'm looking for some of these young guys, offensive line to step up. Defense, Kenua, Wazarike, Jordan Jackson, maybe one of these undrafted free agent linebackers, maybe one of these depth safeties step up. We've been looking for an undrafted cornerback to make a move. I'm not sure. I think you should keep a lot of guys in bubble wrap, though. Not a very good Saints team. I don't think you're going to find out too much. Let's have some practice squad battles here for the Broncos. But I still want to put the belt to ass. Ernie Mays, hello, Nick and Carl, go Broncos country only. Great to see you, Ernie. Hope you're doing well. Leroy's in the house. Good evening. We agree to disagree, but I'm sorry if Sean Payton. I'm keeping Courtney Jackson on the 53-man roster, although I do like the other receivers on the team. I just think Sean Payton can use his speed for even more gadget plays. I think you call him up if something happens to Marvin Mims. I think he is I don't know if anybody's going to be claiming him. If somebody did, that'd be too bad, but oh well. Also,
Yeah,
I think he's Marvin Mims insurance, but I really did like what I've seen from Courtney Jackson.
I think the nice thing with him is you probably can sneak him onto the practice squad. I know a lot of people are always worried about kind of exposing players you think could be on a 53-man roster, but I think in the last 3 years, only 2 wide receivers have been claimed in that time. Now, because he does offer a little special teams help, that makes it a little bit more leery of whether he can make the team or not, or make it through the cuts back onto the practice squad. But I still think you could probably make it through and be fine. And because you already have your all-pro returner, it does take some of his value away. If Marvin Mims is healthy going into the 53-man roster, I think you're willing to risk Courtney Jackson. And, if he ends up getting picked up, that's great for him because he has done really well. I don't want to take anything away from what that young man has done. He's worked his tail off to make this 53-man roster. He just unfortunately kind of ran into most of the guys were already established. Bryant was going to make this team. Sherfield's going to make it because of special teams. Of course, you got Sutton's already there. Vele. I mean, we talked about trading him. I don't think you'd ever cut him.
Yeah.
I think he has enough belief from the coaching staff from what he did last year. You're willing to look past the fact that he hasn't been on the field a whole lot this offseason. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Troy Franklin, what he's done on the field this offseason, it just makes his position, unfortunately, I don't think you can keep 7 receivers.
Yeah.
With other positions needing some extra guys, I just can't see how that could happen.
Hopefully everybody stays healthy and we can get them to the practice squad. Or there's a trade. You never know. Steven Bumgarner, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. I see Izarako in the house. Good to see you, Izarako. Bobby Hill, good to see you, Bobby Hill. Hope you're doing well. We got Keith. Says doesn't get more legit than this. I can think of, maybe more legit, but we appreciate the kind words. Hope you're doing well. We got Spaceman says, thank you for the membership. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with us on this fine Tuesday evening. We got Mike S as well. What's up, Nick, Carl, and Broncos country? Not too much, just hanging out. Now, if you guys have anything, if you aren't yet a member, make sure you become a member of the MHH YouTube team. And as always, if you have any super chats, we will obviously get to those. So, yeah, welcome everybody. Good to see everyone. Getting into it now. What we've learned entering the finale, obviously we talked about earlier, a lot of the important stuff that we will learn about this Broncos team as far as the lead up to the regular season has been found out. We still have some practices here. We have the Saints game, obviously, but with 2 joint practices, 2 preseason games now in the rearview mirror, a lot of the starters not even playing that second one. Broncos, Sean Payton run tough camps, and with the 2 joint practices, I feel like it's fine that we didn't see the starters pretty much at all in that last game. But what have we learned so far? I think what I've learned is that Broncos wide receivers room is going to be better than I thought. Now, obviously, I was a little bit bummed when Emeka Egbuka was drafted 1 pick before the Broncos at 20. I thought he'd have been a heck of a find or a heck of a draft pick for the Broncos. I was not as big on Pat Bryant. I thought it was about a round early on him. And you mentioned earlier, Troy Franklin, after last season, 4th round pick, day 3 pick, not a special teams contributor at all either. Marvin Mims, we saw some flashes last season, but still some questions about the route running. I didn't love the makeup of this wide receiver room, and I thought it would really cap the Broncos. Now, I know that Sean Payton doesn't really care so much about the terminology wide receiver 2, 3, 4. He's going to rotate them, but I just think the bevy of options, multiple of these guys are set to emerge and be pretty big contributors to this pass game. So what have I learned? I've learned that I'm much more comfortable with this wide receiver room entering the season now. Again, do they have a absolute superstar, get him ready for the Hall of Fame type of guy in that room? I don't know. But if you got the quarterback, the weapon, and the offensive schemer opening them up, not as worried about that. So so far, I think the biggest thing I've learned is that I'm really excited about the youth of the wide receiver room. And after also signing Cortland Sutton, it may not be a overwhelming identity of the team, but it's definitely going to be something the Broncos are going to be good at this season.
I think the big thing I like is they really do bring different skill sets. Mm-hmm. And so, like you said, and Peyton even talked about it in his press conference today, we need to get used to the idea of, like the number 2, number 3, number 4 wide receiver. It's going to be situational. Mm-hmm. Okay, you see a defense that's creeping up a little bit. Okay, let's stick in Troy Franklin. Let's go have him win over the top here. They're struggling over the middle. They don't have great coverage linebackers. Okay, you know what? Bryant, get out there. You're going to be that slot guy. You're going to go attack the middle of the field for us and make them pay for having a weakness in this area. Marvin Mims, hey, if they struggle with speed to the edge, boom, we're going to have you going this way. We're going to have Harvey going the other way, and we're going to do some trickery here that you've got to be very disciplined. Everybody's got to do their job perfect. Otherwise, this could turn into a big play for our offense. And then you got Sutton, who's just that consistent guy. And then on top of it, really your number 2 receiving option is Evan Ingram.
Which something we've been talking about on here for months, Carl, and I've seen it on Twitter from people I respect, which is like they're not stealing it from us, but, it is starting to move around that way. But we've been talking about that on this show dating back to May. I mean, really.
And we saw just that little bit of a glimpse in this last game with that 58-yard play for him. Now, that was another one where the wide receivers underappreciated work that they did on that play. Troy Franklin being very smart in the way that he blocked, just kind of, oh, I'm going to get my body. Oh, you ran into me kind of thing. I love those. I really do, because they're smart. He could have easily just shoved that guy in the back, and all of a sudden we're going from a 58-yard play to, nope, it's coming back. So I love the intelligence that he showed there. And then on the other end, you got Pat Bryant just taking the soul of a player. I mean, it reminded me of, what's that football movie where he, the offensive lineman that ended up being a Raven?
Oh, The Blind
Side, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the high school game. He had the guy that was beating him over and over again, and then he just like runs him off the field, and coach is like, what were you doing? I was taking him to the bus. He needed to go home. And like Pat Bryant, he's just like taking the guy like 5 yards off the field, and love that. Incredible. Mm-hmm. That's the attitude that you want to see on this team that they were lacking last year. They just didn't quite have that bully mentality at times, especially in the run game, that you want to see. So Evan Ingram being that number 2 option on this team is a really good option in what he could be, where he could take a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 58-yard play. And so that's great to see. And so I'm with you. I really do think that this receiving core, while it's not going to be anybody putting up a 1,500-yard kind of season, I think you're going to see a lot of guys be involved in this, and it be a week-to-week thing where, yes, Sutton and Ingram are going to get theirs, but who's going to be the number 2 true receiver in the game? It could really be a rotation from game to game of what you're going to see. And, Troy Franklin could have a 100-yard game, and then the next week, Bryant could go out there and have a 75-yard game for you. Vele is still there as kind of that all-around guy that can do a little bit of everything for you. So I'm with you. I really do think that they've taken a big step forward. I think the 2 big plays for me with Troy Franklin that have really shown me that he is a completely different player. One is the 4th down catch where he was streaking across the middle of the field. It wasn't the best throw. It was in traffic, and he really did a great job of extending, making the catch in a very difficult situation. That was just great. Like I could hear, every practice was like, oh, Troy Franklin with a big play. I'm like, yes, I know that he can run fast. I know that he can go down the field and make a 50-yard catch. I need to be able to see that he can do something else. And so to see him do that, and he did it a few times too. It's not just that one time in preseason. He's done it a few times now. And then the other big play for me was it was a play that got called back. It was a big run by McLaughlin, and Troy Franklin was the lead blocker Like they trusted him with being the lead blocker in the hole. They had him coming across the field and all of a sudden snap the ball, boom, he goes up and does an incredible job. Like it wasn't the best technique, but like he hit with authority, opened up the hole. McLaughlin gone for a really big play. And yes, it got called back as a holding because of Bryant, but that was something I don't think we saw last year, where he was being that selfless guy. Like, hey, I go make a big play here as a blocker. It could help my team. And so those things right there, I think really give me a lot of hope for this receiving room and that they could be something a little bit more dynamic than what we've seen.
Yeah. I'm really excited about all those guys. Troy Franklin, especially, as you mentioned there. But I mean, Pat Bryant too. And I feel like we're almost sleeping on Marvin Mims at this point with how good he was to close the season last season. And Sean Payton, every chance he's had, has talked about how every game he left thinking, like, damn it, really need to figure out how to get the ball more to Marvin Mims. So excitement, a lot of potential, no doubt. I mean, a lot of the air bars are wide, but a lot of potential. Doc James, I don't know if Super Chats are just coming in weird like this now. So
yeah, it's
really
weird.
Not great to not have a producer. So if I missed anybody, God bless, I'm really sorry because Carl doesn't have the ability on the ones and twos. So I'm really driving. Doc James says, boys, you see any surprise cuts? So when we talked about earlier, you said surprise trade. I think it's more surprise cut is PJ Locke, just because older, expensive, dealt with injuries. It's risky, no doubt, but you can save, what was it, nearly $5 million? That could be just transferred directly into Nick Benito's pocketbook. So I don't know. That's the one that I guess could be a surprise. After that, maybe it's one of these wide receivers. Maybe it's based on ability. Like you would argue Troutman, but like the staff loves Troutman and he's a fine wide receiver or tight end too. I mean, is there anybody who like contract wise makes sense? Like Powers, I think we're probably a year off from that still. That one wouldn't be like crazy shocking, but I mean that one would be crazy shocking. I just don't think it makes much sense right now, especially because you don't like Clay Webb didn't dominate. Throckmorton, fine, but I don't think you're probably a year off from that still.
Singleton,
can't really
maybe.
Think of anybody. What was that?
Singleton.
That's a good call out. I think he needed somebody to run with it a bit more, but that's the other one. That's a good one based on the contract and the injury.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Bailey in training camp, but the actual games, I didn't see anything that made me go, that guy, he needs to be the starter next to Greenlaw. I didn't see any of that. And then Drew Sanders going down with injury. Now you're starting to feel a little bit leery about that position. How thin is it getting? I think Singleton's made this roster. I think he's a great locker room guy. Obviously was a captain before. Like I said, somebody had to really step up and be like, we have to get this guy on the field and this saves us money. It just didn't happen. And now that Singleton's back healthy, I think he's going to make the roster, but that's one cap wise makes a little bit of sense. I'm trying to see if there's any others. Not Benito, that's for sure. Not Will Lutz. Malcolm Roach isn't getting cut.
No.
Damari Mathis.
That's not a surprise, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying contract-wise, it actually saves us quite a bit to see him go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Singleton's a good call-out. I think you needed somebody to emerge, but that's probably the next best one right now. I don't think like McLaughlin not making that's not a surprise. So I don't know. We'll see. We did say hello to Ernie Mays. Good to see you. Sorry, trying to run the ones and twos here. Hope you're doing. Yeah, there's some rage bait. I'm talking about Peyton getting fired. Yeah, not happening for a bit. Good to see you. Or ever. So we got Benjamin Flores in the house. Great to see you, Benjamin. Hope you're doing well. I did see somebody else in here. Okay, I think I'm going to be scrolled up. String Guy says, Nick, you were wrong on Bryant, which I hope I am. I mean, I didn't love the pick because I thought he was, not that overly athletic, but he's separating fine. He's playing like a veteran, and I thought it was a round too early. I mean, I'm not punching, my pillow off of that, so that sounds dirty. Let's nobody punch their pillows. Yeah, no, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I will say also, we haven't even seen a regular season game yet. There's been many preseason superstars that haven't done anything. So let's wait. I'm not even ready to crown Bo Nix. So we'll see. Phil McLaughlin, good evening. Nick, Carl, and Deacon Scott. Do you think signing Prentice means Burton will be gone? I just think it gives them a option in case Burton isn't ready, so they have the ability, because it's not just Burton, it's the Nate Atkins injury as well that makes it so you want to have those plays in your play sheet.
Yeah, I think it's just more, like I said, a little bit of security, maybe a little bit for practice.
Yep.
Those are the plays you want to be working on that you can't work on right now because you don't have that guy on your roster. And so I think Burton's going to be okay. We just don't 100% sure know right now. Something we do know is Michael Ronquillo coming in every night saying, with a $2 from Michael, says, I gifted 5 memberships tonight, Nick and Carl. Thank you very much there, Michael. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate you being one of our great advocates out there, just getting people coming into our shows and being excited about it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. We appreciate you coming in. Hope you're doing well. Carl, so I took the big takeaway of mine was just, entering the offseason being like, oh, wide receiver room, not so sure. Didn't love the Pat Bryant pick. Thought wide receiver might be one of the weakest positions on the team. And right now I'm excited for the young guys. I think, you got a lot of options and each one has stepped up. I mean, the one that we're probably the lowest on right now is maybe Vele, but Vele was pretty good last season. So again, excited to see what those guys can do. Do you have any other takeaways, things that we've learned through 2 joint practices, as well as obviously 2 preseason games?
I'll say I really like the fact that maybe we have a little bit of depth on the offensive line.
Okay.
The starters didn't do great in their couple drives that they had. I'm not going to read too much into that. It makes me a little nervous. But the fact Matt Pert has looked pretty good, Throckmorton's looked pretty good, Palczewski's looked pretty good. You've got some guys that if McGlinchey missed a little bit of time or Ben Powers missed a little bit of time, I'm not sure that there's going to be this giant drop-off that we've seen in years past. I think that they're finally building up a few guys that could turn into something. And not that I want to see them this year, but the fact that maybe we have some in-house replacements that we don't have to go spend huge draft capital to define talent or go spend big money to replace a couple of these guys. Because like you said earlier, Ben Powers, probably gone after this year. Wattenberg, I'm not sure that his position is very secure, especially once he needs a contract. So you could see a couple of these guys replaced next year. And I'm feeling much better about the idea that we might have some guys already here that could step in right away and be at least not a negative contributor to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And I watched some Illinois too. Watched Brian and Ellie make last minute. And Altmaier looked like Joe Montana. They won the Citrus Bowl as underdogs. I like, oh my gosh, now the names escape me. The head coach, met him a few times. Former Wisconsin guy for a long time, went to Arkansas. I know that Scott's not as much of a fan, but he really got Beamer up in arms out there at South Bielema. There we go. It came to me. So yeah, Illinois, feisty team this season. Although I will say, I think Altmaier is terrible. He's a fine college quarterback, but I've been subjected to Iowa quarterback play, so they're mostly all fine compared to what Iowa's had to do. My big takeaway is that not so fast Nick Bonito, as far as being the number one no doubt edge rusher. I think there's going to be competition this season as far as who is the Broncos' best edge and potentially sack leader on this team. Now, obviously, odds are favorite for Nick Bonito, but everybody in camp has been just saying that on as good as Franklin has been on the offensive side of the ball and standing out, it's been Jonathan Cooper who's been the most notorious, disruptive, impactful, day-to-day, week-to-week player in Broncos camp along the defensive front. Now, does that exactly translate to the regular season? We'll see. But Jonathan Cooper, I've always thought he's more of a better as your second tier kind of pass rusher. But he could take a step forward. I mean, he lost a lot of time during his years at Ohio State with the heart condition and everything, and signed a decent contract. Last thing, he kind of felt like he fell off a little bit after the contract, but I'm excited for him this season. Had a 10-sack season, really quiet 10-sack season. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I don't know if there's been a player who's been as impressive as Jonah Ellis on the Broncos defensive side of the ball. And this isn't meant to be a dig on Benito. I mean, he's going to get paid handsomely and rightfully so. And I think he should be the odds-on favorite to be the Broncos sack leader this season, but not so fast. Sleeping on the likes of Jonathan Cooper and Jonah Ellis. I am really excited to see what the depth can do this season, the rotation that we have, and with how those two guys have been reportedly playing in camp and what we've seen from Ellis on the in preseason. Any of them could lead the team in sacks, and I would not be shocked.
Yeah. Jonah Ellis in this last game, he was a one-man wrecking crew.
He was.
He had the one big run tackle for loss in the run game where he took 2 offensive linemen with him and still made the play. It just that looks like a guy that really took another step. And he looked good last year as a rookie. I mean, for the position that he was drafted, the opportunities he got to get himself 5 sacks, to look not bad in the run game. It wasn't the best by any means, but I saw improvement as the year went on. And I do think he really took that next step. I mean, that's the great thing about this rookie class, or the last year's rookie class, second-year guys this year. Many of them look like they've taken a step. Troy Franklin has really taken that step. Jonah Ellis has taken that step. I'm trying to think of some of the others that were in that draft class. Obviously, Bo Nix, we'll see if he's taken that next step. That's the big one. We're Super Bowl contenders. But the fact that those two guys have, and that they have the confidence they do, it's been really fun to see.
Yeah, it has been fun to see. So I'm really excited for these edge rushers. I thought that, somebody else, ESPN, NBC, whatever, ranked the Broncos edges late. I don't know. I don't care. Prove them wrong. With last season, the Broncos were going to pick number 1 overall, and they made the playoffs. So right now, I think we probably have a better idea following this team very closely of what we expect. Now, granted, we're biased because of how close we are. So it is, it's worthwhile information still to kind of, pump the brakes. But yeah, I'm excited for those backup edges. It's not just the Benito show at edge this season, and it's kind of making, Q and Tillman, who are quality depth pieces, afterthoughts as well, in theory, with Q. So that's another big takeaway. I'm excited about this pass rush. Now, are they going to do enough to break the franchise sack record again from last season? I don't know. But I think they're going to be one of the better pressure-oriented teams in the NFL.
Right. They definitely have a chance for it. So my next big takeaway, I'm excited for the run game.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So obviously we haven't seen a whole lot of J.K. Dobbins yet. I think he was just in for a couple pass blocking opportunities. R.J. Harvey, first game wasn't the best. I think there were some nerves, and he did okay. I think there was a couple plays where he bounced it outside, but there was a lot of plays where it was designed for him to be outside too. But I don't want to say, he bounced everything outside. They designed it that way because that's what he's good at. So I definitely get it. But I did love game number 2. Hey, let's work on some of these inside runs. He stayed disciplined. His touchdown run, the all-22 has come out. And, it was tiniest of places for him to run through. But he did a great job. There's a guy to his left getting ready to come down, make sure he couldn't jump outside. And he did a great job with kind of a false step to the left, making sure that guy stayed there. And then, boom, right up through 2 offensive linemen that had a nice little crease for him. And just this is where being small sometimes can actually be an advantage. Being 5'8", surrounded by a bunch of 6'5", 300-pound guys, you can get lost. It can be tough to see where this guy's coming from. And when he finally emerged from that hole, it was boom, touchdown. It was a great run. Tyler Bidet has looked outstanding in the carries that he's gotten. And then, of course, you've got McLaughlin. He looks like a better player than he was last year. A little bit more power, a little bit more size, a little bit more actual break tackle ability. And I think he's got a little bit better vision too. So I think he's really taken another step for the Broncos. I don't know if they're going to keep 3 or 4 running backs. I think they're probably going to keep 4. But all 4 of these guys, I would trust to be on the field and be able to be a good running back for us. Last year, that was not the case. Javonte, anytime that you knew he was going to get the ball, it was like, ah, crap, this is going to be a 2-yard gain. McLaughlin, it was kind of hit and miss with him a little bit. Obviously, Estime, it stinks that he hasn't become what we hoped he would become with being a 5th-round pick. But I wish him well wherever he ends up playing. I don't think he's making this team. But yeah, I didn't trust him because he fumbled a lot, obviously. And he was slow to the hole. There's a lot of bad things going on for him last year. And so I really do. I feel much better about this run game. I think it could be an asset for this offense that we just had no ability to do last year. And there's a lot of times people are like, oh, you got to keep running the ball. And there was that game where he had to write on his clipboard, like, run the ball, because and he still got away from it because it was just so ineffective. And so even let's go from like second to last running game to middle of the pack, that would be a really nice step forward for this offense.
Yeah, that's a great call. Oh, man, I think I still need to see it to believe it for the running game. J.K. Dobbins has had so many injuries and been obviously brought in a little bit late. And R.J. Harvey, Carl, has he had a single pass protection rep in preseason?
Not yet.
It's going to limit his usage. I think that there's a lot of like hope about, oh yeah, the Broncos can get the run game figured out. I think right now I feel neutral compared to last season. A little bit optimistic, but I think there's some baked in offensive line, potentially some internal regression injury. I don't think the running backs right now, I trust them fully. Maybe it's because I was too excited about RJ Harvey, and that touchdown was great. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
you're showing your hand with him out there right now. So I'm a little bit more wait and see for the run game. So I really hope, but I would not be buying real hard right now on that unit
and
that phase.
When I say I'm buying, it's more in the sense of I don't think they're going to be bottom 5 in the league this year.
Yeah,
I think they're going to at least take a step up to maybe at least middle of the pack. And if Harvey gets some things figured out, maybe you take it even further. I mean, we know what J.K. Dobbins is.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty good idea. McLaughlin maybe took a little bit step forward. It's probably not going to be a huge step forward. And Bidet, we don't have a whole lot of information on him, but we have enough, I think. Yeah. And so it is that RJ Harvey, he could really take this from possibly middle of the pack group to top 10 if he figures some things out, especially as, like you said, a pass blocker, just so we aren't tipping our hand of what we're doing on the field. But I think for me, like I said, it's just that bump up is why I'm becoming a little bit more believer that I'm not thinking of this unit going, crap, like it's 3rd and 1. We can't run the football. Mm-hmm. I think we can pick up a 3rd and 1 now.
I hope so. I think you said you think at minimum middle of the pack. I think they're probably more likely that's the mode there where they land, but we'll see. Phil comes in and says, what do you think about these trade options? Jelani Woods, Charlie Kolar, and Luke Schoonmaker. I don't know if Kolar's on the block, given where the Ravens are at. I don't know if I'd want Jelani Woods with injuries. Schoonmaker would be interesting, though, out there in Dallas. Been somewhat disappointing so far. Tight end and linebacker are 2 positions that I have my radar up for. Oh, that's the wrong alarm. That was for something else. But tight end and linebacker I have my radar up for a midseason trade right now. Those are 2 spots. So we'll keep an eye on. I do see Michael Ronquillo also has gifted 5 Mile High Huddle memberships today. That is unbelievable. Appreciate you so much, Michael, coming in here. Also, it looks like these are coming up in colors now. So I don't know. StreamYard was having some really weird issues earlier. Looks like we're doing a little bit better here. And finally, the last thing I learned here as we wrap up the show here, Carl, I do want to give you one more. I'll make this one short and sweet. If Bo Nix goes down for a little bit, I feel pretty good about Stidham. Obviously, I'm not saying that Bo Nix is going to be feel any pressure or anything, but Stidham can come in and guide the ship and maybe even win some games. And I'm even been impressed enough that, like, I know a lot of times if your quarterbacks goes down, it's like, season's done. Would I be shocked at all if Stidham led this team to the playoffs with how he's looked with the infrastructure here and how much I buy and believe in Sean Payton? I think it's possible. I think the ceiling's capped, but I think that could happen. So I'm really excited and happy from what I've seen from Stidham so far. And I feel good
Yeah.
about this quarterback room there. Now, do we have the upside young player like Zach Wilson? I don't think they're going to do that with Sam Ehlinger, but
Right.
I feel pretty confident in Stidham as a very good backup.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think the only thing I ever worry about him, he sometimes has trouble holding on to the ball. He, in that first preseason game, he lost the football twice. There's just Bo Nix does a really good job keeping two hands on the ball and just kind of having eyes in the back of his head of knowing when to kind of tuck it when he's getting hit. Stidham doesn't quite have that. Now, all the rest of it, like I said, looks really good. And for a backup, I think he can keep the train on the track. That's what you hope for in your backup. So I'm with you there. I don't want to end on a bad note. So I'm trying to think of a really good one. I think, like I said, the overall depth of the defense is something that just has me excited. The fact, like I said, you've got a PJ Locke, you've got a Damari Mathis that used to be starters on this team are now backups and maybe even struggling to make this roster. We'll see how that plays out. And so you got all these young guys that have really emerged and looking good. And it just gives me hope that this defense not only has the ability to be a top-ranked defense this year, but to have staying power. You know, defense, it's always tough to keep at a high level, but they've got a lot of these guys who are in very much the prime of their career that are locked up. Zach Allen's locked up. Patrick Surtain's locked up. Jonah Ellis, you've got him for a few more years. Jonathan Cooper, you've got him for a few more years. Riley Moss, you've got him for a couple more years. Brandon Jones, I guess he's coming up here. Is it next year or the year after? I'm trying to remember. But you got Ufunga, you got Greenlaw. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, you've got a lot of these pieces that have staying power. And then you got some of these young guys that are coming up. You know, we'll see what Barron's going to be moving forward. And hopefully he can get some things figured out. But it has me excited that it's not only that you've now got the proven players, but now you've got some other young guys that are coming up and giving you hope that they could actually step into positions. Like I said, Jonah Ellis.
Yeah.
If he's really taken that next step, you've now got maybe 3 starter quality edge guys that you're struggling to find reps for to get them on the field. You know, Savion Jones, if once he starts getting up to how's he going to be a part of this rotation moving forward? And cornerback, trying to figure out which 3 or 4 to have on the field at each time and how to play them. So it's a good problem to have that we've not had in the past, where it was kind of like, oh crap, who's our number 2 cornerback? We don't even know who that is. Now we're kind of like, crap, it sucks that our 5th cornerback can't be on the field because he's really good. So I'm excited about that side of it. And offensively, yeah, we still got to see how it all plays out. We don't know how all these guys are going to work together yet. But defensively, I think it's not only in the here and now, but for the future as well.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Illinois looks good this year. They'll probably, I don't know if they play Iowa this season as I rock my Iowa football shirt here, but yeah, a lot we've learned. Obviously, we probably think we've learned more than we actually have, which is true of life, but that's, preseason football and training camp. So we will really find out as the season goes on. And also as the season goes on, what you think, the first 4 weeks is not what you think, the 4 weeks after that and the 4 weeks after that. It really is in the seasons in quarters. So it's 4 small little seasons and you try to go 3-1 every time. I think maybe it doesn't break out 17 game season. I'll throw an extra one in there somewhere. Really excited for the season. Feeling as we've said on the show a lot, feeling as optimistic about this team as we have in a while. Now I'm not personally in the Super Bowl expectation that I think Broncos believe internally, because I need to see it again because I'm really boring and just prove it. I don't want to get my heart hurt. But I think Denver can contend with the big boys on the right day. Now, I think if they played Buffalo, the Ravens, the Eagles 10 times, Denver probably loses 6 of them, 6.5 maybe is my thought right now. But any given Sunday, if the ball bounces the right way, you never know. So they're in that realm right now. I think they really a tier under the top dogs, but 4 weeks into the season, 8 weeks into the season, different perspective, different conversation, that they could reach those heights.
Yeah. I was listening to the PFF guys talking earlier, and they were doing roster breakdowns of every team, and they got to the Broncos, and they were like, it's actually tough to find a real weakness to this team. Like at every position, you can find guys who are going, yeah, I like that guy. I really do. And Colin Cowherd had the Broncos ranked the 4th best team in football behind those 3 that you listed. So I had him even ahead of the Chiefs. I mean, I'm with you. I get a little nervous when people are getting this excited before we've really proven it on the field. And unfortunately, then you're going to have those people who are like, ha, look at you. You didn't do that good. If the Broncos come up a little bit short on that. But at the same time, like others are seeing this, there's a lot of positive to really like about this team, to like the starting depth at every position, to like the depth behind them as well. And I think there's a decent chance that these Broncos can make some noise. I think there's a really good chance after the news today of Daniel Jones being named the starter for the Colts, Broncos starting 2-0. You got Tennessee coming to town, Cam Ward, very first start in the NFL. And I think Cam Ward's going to be a really good quarterback. I don't think he has hardly any talent around him. So I think that's a really good chance for the Broncos to get off on a good start that they haven't had since Sean Payton's been here. If you can get off to that 2-0 start really believing in yourself, really sets you up for the next couple games with the Chargers, the Bengals, and hopefully, like I said, do that 3-1. If you can do 3-1 in each section, you're going to be sitting there at the end of the year going, yep, we're a really good team.
Yeah, man, can't wait for it to get here. Can't wait. Appreciate everyone coming in today. All the new members coming in. Michael Ronquillo helping everybody join. Doc James joining us. Phil McLaughlin a couple of times. You guys are killing it. Make sure you're following Carl and I on Twitter. Carl's at Carl Dumler MHH. I'm at Kendell MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle over there on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Become a member today of our MHH YouTube team. A lot of fun stuff to hang out with us, and really helps us a heck of a lot. And we got good things for you guys. If you are listening after the fact, I'm avid dog walker, so I listen to a lot of things after the fact or driving in traffic. So can't always join live. Leave us a 5-star rating if you're hearing this after the fact, and also subscribe, like, and share as it says there underneath. Appreciate all y'all. Hopefully the StreamYard's a little less clunky going forward. I don't know what was going on with some of that, but always good to see you, Carl. Final thoughts, words?
No, just like I said, a lot of optimism. Excited for the final game of preseason and getting into the real stuff. And I've already seen a couple score predictions here. Denver beats Titans 34-10 from String Guy. That would be a great way to start the year. And I really hope that's the case. Not giving up 10 points.
It needs to be 100-0.
That's right. Every game.
Yep. I need the Broncos fans booing at halftime when they're winning by 10, like they did against the Jags when they were that good. So appreciate everyone. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Choose kindness, compassion, and as always, go Broncos.